How's everybody doing? I hope you can hear me. Again, going live. It's impossible to know until we're live if you guys can hear me or not. Hopefully you can. It is Tuesday, right? Yes, it is Tuesday. It is January the 21st. And we have had President Donald J. Trump for just over 24 hours. We're rolling up to 25 hours. We have had President Donald J. Trump for his second term. And the amount of things this man has done in the first 24 hours as president is effing monumental. People are like, what is he doing? He is not taking a break. He went through the inauguration and he went and sat down on the desk, got a pen, and got to work signing executive orders and all kinds of stuff. And it has been crazy. Before we jump into any of that, I have two things. Number one, I want to say happy birthday to Sarah. She is the moderator here on my channel, and today is her birthday. So everybody tell Sarah happy birthday, and we love her. So there's that. Second, I'm in my car. The wind is at 21 miles per hour. It is cold as a witch's tit out here, and the snow is probably like a few miles away. The snow is working its way this way. This is Pensacola. Pensacola, Florida is covered in, well, that's not really covered. That's kind of like a smattering. But Pensacola is kind of, it's got flurries. There are flurries in Pensacola, Florida. In the Gulf of America, we have snow. And it's headed this way, and I'm super excited about it. You know that Florida Gulf Coast area is not ready for snow or used to snow when some places are putting down that really fat rock salt on the crosswalks and the sidewalks and stuff so you don't slip and bust your butt. One, for your safety, but two, for their lawyers not having to get sued by anybody. But also when other places are putting down sand because they don't have salt. So they're putting down sand in places. And I just think to myself, sand can get kind of slippery. I don't see how that's helpful, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe sand is something that is used up north when it comes to slippery conditions, snow, ice, sleet, whatever else. Normally I hear salt. So if sand is a thing, please let me know so I don't look at our government officials around here like they're nut jobs. Also, on top of that, when Whole Foods decides to close at noon, I heard this while I went to Pilates this morning because, yes, we're about to be snowed in for 24 or 48 hours. But first, I needed to get a little small workout in, so I went to Pilates early this morning. And they were talking about how Whole Foods is closing at noon and a lot of other places are closing early. And then some places are like, oh, it's not a big deal, we're going to stay open. And I'm like, the places that are staying open must be people who are from the north and don't realize that people here in the super south don't know how to drive in this shit. Like, they're not going to have any idea what's going on. And there's going to be little fender benders, bumper, whatevers. And it's going to be a very interesting next 24 or 48 hours. I do have a personal Facebook account just so I can keep up with what's going on in the realm of where I live and so I can keep in touch with family. I saw a snow flurry. I just saw a snow flurry. Come on, y'all. Do more than one. I wanted to start like crazy snowing while we're doing this live stream together. Maybe y'all will be able to see it out through the window. I tried to position it so you guys can see if it starts. You could see it like land on this car or something. That way it's a interactive live stream, you know what I mean? And we can all be excited together about the snow. It's also why I have this beanie on, even though I do have the car running today and the heat going, because safety first. And yesterday my fingers and toes were frozen, and that's not great. So the stores are closing. Some places aren't. It's going to be interesting, and that's what I've got on the snow. Now, to get to everything else. So yesterday we had a nice long discussion, and then, you know, my live stream kicked out because I have a new phone. I got an iPhone yesterday. I've gone to the dark side. Some people said I've gone to the smart side because iPhone is supposed to be superior in every way, shape, and possible to Samsung. So far, I am not agreeing. Typing on this stupid thing is ridiculously difficult. I don't know if it's because I put one of those screen protectors on it, but it sucks. I'm not loving that part. And I can't figure out how to, in the, like when I'm typing a message, how to keep everything caps lock. If anybody knows, please tell me, because right now I know how to capitalize each letter at a time, but I haven't figured out how to just stay in caps lock. Because when I yell at somebody, I need it to be quick. I don't need to hit the arrow button and every letter individually. It takes away the steam as I'm going. So I got to figure that thing out. But the live stream yesterday got kind of sort of hijacked by a phone call that came in, and I didn't know how to hit end, and it just everything went wonky after that. So hopefully this time we figured it out. I have it on Do Not Disturb. My 15-year-old had to teach me how to do it. Hopefully we will be good to go from here. Let's jump into Donald Trump stuff. You guys ready for this? Because like I said, there's a lot. Oh, side note, if you are in Florida where it's snowing, don't think that just because it's snowing, they're not going to pull your ass over, because they do not care. They will still come get you. So don't try to... See, I thought double tap on the arrow button too, and it didn't work. I'm going to try it again after this, and I'll let you know if it worked. Double click the letter. Yeah, double click the letter, but then I have to do that for every single one. Chester, please hold on. Chester Wolf the Griffin said it's 18 in Chester, Pennsylvania right now. Tonight is supposed to go down to 8. I work overnight at the PHL International. It's going to be a wind shear, I think, of -11. Yeah, here it says it feels like it's like 8 degrees. That's probably the coldest I've ever been in any place I've lived in. We visited Utah, which is what the thumbnail is from this live stream, was in Utah, and the snow in the background. Absolutely loved it. But I'm not used to cold weather like this since then. So let's back to what we were talking about ish, because, you know, squirrel, I'm going to be all over the place no matter what. I want to, before we get into Donald Trump, I'd like to just tell you, this is trending on, I don't know how to do this. There's always going to be a glare. This is trending on X. I can go over to the trending tab and see what they're talking about. And I want you to know that one of them is Nazis. One of them is effing Nazis is a trending topic on X right now, all because left stream libtard media is taking a moment with Elon Musk, taking the entire context away from it, all the audio away from it, and throwing it up on mainstream media, trying to make it look like he did a Hitler salute in the middle of the Donald Trump rally. Like, are you effing kidding me? For those of you who didn't see it, I mean, I'm not going to do it just in case, because people suck and they could take it out of my video and use it out of context too, and I'm not about to do all that. But he was doing this thing where he's like, he's got his hand on his heart, basically starting the Pledge of Allegiance kind of thing. He's got his hand on his heart. This is Elon on the stage at the, nope, I don't remember if it was the victory rally or after the inauguration at the parade thing. It was one of the two, and honestly, I don't remember. That's on me. But he's standing there with his hand on his heart, and he's talking about how he loves everybody, and he wants to just throw the love out to everybody. And I don't know if you've watched Elon Musk, but I do believe, and he may have said at some point in time if he has some sort of autism or not, or something along those lines, but he definitely is extra special, you know what I mean? In a good way, not a bad way. I don't mean that in a negative, whatever kind of way at all. But he was like, I want to share the love or tell you how much I love you. And he had his hand on his heart, and he went to throw his heart out. And in the process of doing that, you have to let it go at some point. And he happened to let it go a little too high, according to mainstream media. And they thought he was giving a Nazi salute. At no point in time did that man give a Nazi salute. The reason why this is important is because during some point in time during the inauguration whole thing, you had Laura Trump and Eric Trump standing up on stage, and Laura Trump is kind of standing behind Eric, like behind his right shoulder, it looks like, and Eric is standing there with his hands in front of his crotchal region or like pelvis or whatever, but he's standing kind of like with a diamond, right, or a triangle, upside down triangle kind of thing, and he's standing there and not really paying attention to what's going on. And everybody now, lefties, mainstream media, is trying to say that he was giving some sort of like Illuminati signal or some other whatever, and that Laura saw it and she was like, stop, because she pushed him and said, don't do it. And there's no way, number one, there's no way she saw his hands. She's standing behind him. She had no clue what his hands were doing. He could have been throwing up gang signs. She would have had no idea. What was going on is there was a woman in the front row, or a photographer in the front row, who was trying to take pictures, and Laura was just trying to get him to step back so they were all kind of together for the picture that was being taken. A lot of people are saying that the stance that he had is considered a calming technique that is taught during, I don't remember why it's taught or when it's taught or where it's taught, but it's taught to kind of center yourself and calm yourself in the middle of whatever overstimulation or overexcitement or over whatever you may be going through. And when I looked, I kind of tried to find how often people are doing that same stance, and a lot of people do it, and it's not generally the celebrities that people would want to equate Illuminati kind of stuff with. So I take what Eric Trump was doing as not a big deal whatsoever. That's my personal take on it, just based off of what I looked up, what I saw. And I think it's just, again, lefties, mainstream media trying to cause division, trying to start issues where there aren't issues. Unfortunately, there are a couple issues with Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy. So you guys may have heard already. I'm trying to do as much just talk and less show as possible. That way there's not always like a glare or whatever, and it's just like a regular conversation. But you guys may have seen that DOGE, Department of Government Efficiency, is already having its first TIF, its inter-office squabble, if you will. And it's being said that they're trying to slowly push Vivek Ramaswamy out of DOGE without being like, hey, pack your bags and get the hell on, like whatever. They're trying to make it so that he's not wanting to be part of it, because according to sources, and Vivek is not the source and Elon is not the source. So we do need to take that part into consideration. These sources are outside of the two main people that are part of DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency. So this is a with a grain of salt conversation, because you just never know if it's factual or if it's, again, information that is aimed to try to put that wedge and divide. The same thing they were doing right before the inauguration with Elon Musk and Donald Trump. They were trying to put that wedge in there and divide them. That shit didn't work. So this could be the same thing, but not quite sure. So they are saying that Vivek, I never know how to say his name, is not pulling his weight and doing what he's supposed to do when it comes to the Department of Government Efficiency. They're not getting paid, so that may have something to do with certain people not wanting to put as much effort or time or whatever into it if they're not going to get a monetary return from it, which kind of sort of bothers me at the end of the day. If this is true, if Ramaswamy, we'll just skip his first name, if Ramaswamy is not pulling his weight and kind of shirking the duties or the responsibilities or whatever because he's not getting paid, that's kind of shitty on his part, because he knew going into being part of DOGE that there was not a paycheck to it, that this was in order to make America great again. He was putting his name out there, and I think maybe possibly the only reason he jumped into it is to get that recognition, because it's been said that he will be running for the governor of Ohio. That has been said. I do not know if this is true. Right now you have Mike DeWine as the governor of Ohio, and I think DeWine might be near the end of his term there. I can almost guarantee, but I'm not positive on this because I am not from Ohio. Side note, Ohio won the football championship that J.D. Vance was super excited about. But Ohio, I don't know how people feel about DeWine at the end of the day, especially after everything that happened with the East Palestine, Norfolk Southern train derailment and the subsequent fire, the releasing of chemicals into the ground in East Palestine, Ohio, and then setting them on fire. That was decided upon by Mike DeWine and the fire chief at the time, which I don't know that person's name. The EPA had nothing to do with it. Norfolk Southern did not pull the trigger on this. It was DeWine and the fire chief who decided to release that vinyl chloride onto the ground and then decided to set it on fire. So everything that transpired after that is on the shoulders of DeWine and that fire chief, and not really Norfolk Southern or anybody else, but that's not the conversation today. So I don't know how people feel about him after everything that's been said and done. But if it is towards the end of DeWine's term or whatever else, and Vivek Ramaswamy has now put his name out there as a positive, people look at him as a good person or a good name or a good thing, versus, get myself hiccups again, versus how they didn't really know that much about him in the very beginning, he could have a chance at a political position like the governor of Ohio. For those of you in Ohio, I'm curious, is he somebody you would vote for as governor, or is there somebody else? I was about to say John Fetterman, but he's Pennsylvania. He's not governor, and he's not governor, and he's also not in Ohio, but I thought about him randomly because he went to the inauguration in basketball shorts and a sweatshirt. Like, that man could give zero shits about anything. I think it's the weirdest, also coolest thing at the end of the day. But that's what's going on right now with Ramaswamy and Elon. And weirdly, my husband and I were talking about it earlier, because I didn't even think about it, that JD Vance has 3 kids. You guys saw him when he was being sworn in during the inauguration yesterday, hand on a Bible. Donald Trump did not touch the Bible. We'll talk about that though. Hand on a Bible, being sworn in. He's got his wife, Usha, next to him, holding his daughter, and I don't know her name. I want to say Madeline, but I don't think that's right. I'm not sure. The one with the Band-Aids on her fingers. He has 3 children though, and he has a son named Vivek, which I just thought was interesting. I didn't realize that they had the same name, but his wife is of Indian descent. So I'm guessing that is a popular name in their culture because his wife and the Ramaswamy are both of Indian descent. So I'm guessing it's a popular name in their culture. It's weird how everything kind of ties together everywhere, you know? Anyway, so on top of all of those things that we have discussed, let's talk about the fact that I was telling you the trending topics. One of them is Houston, because Houston is being hit with this weird snowstorm, ice storm. So is Pensacola. That's also a trending one. And then where was the other one? Baton Rouge, no. Taco Tuesday, that's weird, but okay. It is Tuesday and people do like tacos, so maybe that's one of them. There was one, but it just went away and I don't remember. Gulf of America is now trending. That's what I wanted to talk about. So Gulf of America. Oh, y'all can't see this guy getting out of the car behind me and how windy it is. Almost blew the food out of his hand that he was carrying. So we talked about Gulf of Mexico. Donald Trump has officially renamed it Gulf of America. And the reason behind it, which I did not even put together at first, is the fact that Biden had signed into order. I'm still learning the phrases and the wording here, so bear with me. Had signed into order or something about how there could be no drilling, no fracking, no whatevering in the Gulf of Mexico. Y'all, I'm a very big fan of loopholes and finding ways to get around things. It is the best part of being an adult, is finding ways to do what they don't want you to do. You know what I mean? So we're going to find ways to get around stuff. By renaming the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, guess what Donald Trump can do now? He can drill, baby, drill. He can do whatever it is that he wants to do or needs to do because it's not the Gulf of Mexico. He is technically not breaking any laws. He is technically not going against any bills or whatever it's called. It is a brilliant, like Pearls of Wisdom says, brilliant loophole. It's exactly what it is. Donald Trump is a very smart man. No matter what anybody thinks about his personality, because in the beginning, I was not a Donald Trump personality fan, but as a businessman, he is a very smart man. And as a patriot, he is a patriot. He is all about America. I can't say that about any of the presidents that we've had since I've been alive that I can think of. Bill Clinton? No, he's about cigars and blue dresses and head under a table at the Oval Office, right? George Bush, either of them, maybe senior, possibly, I'm not quite sure, but junior, no. 9/11, all right. And then, of course, you have Obama. That man was all about division and race wars and everything else. Then you had Biden, y'all. Do we really need to? Do we really need to talk about Biden in the last 4 years and how he could give not a single iota of a shit about America or its citizens? We all know that. Donald Trump is literally the only president that I can step back and think about what I know and what I've seen and what I remember from, you know, my childhood and whatever else while paying attention, that cared about the citizens. Somebody said Ronald Reagan. It's interesting you say Ronald Reagan. One, I'm not even going to pretend like I know when Ronald Reagan was president. I want to say it was the 50s or 60s. I do not know. I'm probably way off. You please feel free to school me because I am ignorant on it. But everybody makes the comparison of Ronald Reagan to Donald Trump because they were actors. 80s, thank you. So they were I don't know where I got 50s and 60s from. I knew it was wrong when I said it out loud. I said it out loud and I was like, you look real stupid right now, Michelle, but it's fine. Keep it going. So they're comparing Ronald Reagan and Donald Trump together because they were both actors turned politicians. And another very interesting thing to me is that obviously there was an assassination attempt on Ronald Reagan, assassination attempt on Donald Trump. The fact that Ronald Reagan is also, everybody's like, you know, the last president that took his inauguration indoors was Ronald Reagan. it almost makes me wonder if Donald Trump took his inauguration indoors to keep that comparison to Ronald Reagan going, because a lot of people seem to really like Ronald Reagan. And that could be something he did purposefully to keep that parallel going. You guys may not have seen it. I have not seen it yet. I have every intention of watching it, and then something happens. But the movie Reagan with Dennis Quaid in it, it came out in the theaters, and we talked about it when it came out in the theaters, how theaters, whether it was AMC, Regal Cinemas, didn't really matter, had put it down to like one time slot. They did not want anybody to see that movie. Same thing with, what's the one that just came out? Homeland, whatever it was, that was about brain, do your job again. Hello. I want to say it was nuclear, but there was a bunch of fires. Y'all help me. I know you know. Y'all know. Homeland. Is that what it's called? Homeland? Yes. They had that out for the very first day in like 5 or 6 different show time slots, and then it was down to 1. And then the next thing you know, it's not even in theaters anymore. And I think now it's on, I don't know if it's Apple, if it's Prime. I don't remember where it is, but I think it's on somewhere where you can rent it to watch it. So I'm going to have to watch that one as well. So anyway, that's, I saw somebody say Reagan in there, and it made me think of the fact that the parallel-ishness of him and Donald Trump is something that people bring up all the time. Now, the other thing I wanted to talk about is people are losing their shit right now because Donald Trump did not put his hand on the Bible when he was being sworn in. Now, let's have this conversation. Technically, legally, constitutionally, you don't have to put your hand on shit. You don't have to put your hand on a Bible. You don't have to put your hand on any kind of book. You can hold your hands up in the air. You should probably put one hand over your heart, but you can do whatever you want with your hands. There's nothing that says your hand must be resting on top of anything in order to be sworn in. Whether you do the actual swearing in or not, on January 20th at noon, you are president. The swearing in is more for show and for looks and everything else, right? So that's one thing. Side note, the reason he did not have his hand on the Bible was because Melania did not get to him before Kavanaugh. Was it Kavanaugh who did his? Was it Kavanaugh who did his and J.D. Vance's? He did both. I don't think it was Kavanaugh that did his. Y'all help me out here, because again, I have way too many names in my head, and I cannot remember the name of who did his. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't matter. Roberts, is that what everybody's saying? It did not matter. So yeah, okay, so Roberts, thank you. He started the swearing in before Melania made it there with the books to put his hand on. One of them was a Lincoln Bible, and another one was his mother's book. I don't know exactly what it was. Again, I try to get a little bit of information on a lot of different things, and it starts to get a little squirrely up in here. But the fact that he did not have his hand on the Bible while being sworn in, of course, mainstream media, lefties, losing their absolute shit. Like any of them actually read the Bible, adhere to the Bible, anything like that. If they did, there would not have been abortion bans at the DNC. So, you know, they can F all the way off with that. Now, J.D. Vance did have his hand on the Bible because Kavanaugh is the one who swore him in, waited until everything was in place for him to be sworn in and for him to put his hand on the Bible. But again, you don't have to do it. It's not part of the actual swearing in process. It's not constitutional that it must be done. It's just that we as a society have gotten used to it being done, so we expect it to be done. And when you expect something and it doesn't go the way you expect, automatically then you look at it like, oh, well, he did something wrong, when in actuality we just had expectations that did not have to be met, and there's nothing wrong with that. So I just wanted to put it out there for people who may have been, look, there's like little baby flurries now. They're little though, nothing significant yet. I want that Pensacola snow to hurry up and make its way over here. Like, I'm excited for it. Anyway, I think that the whole inauguration in and of itself went very well. Nothing exploded. Nobody was shot at. There was nothing set on fire. Now, there were some scuffles in the streets of DC afterwards with rioters and J6, what, I don't know the phrase. I know the Proud Boys walked through and they had some signs, and that happened. But there were a few scuffles in the streets after everything was said and done. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. The J6 people were released, some of them, not all of them. There's still some people sitting in there because the police were like, we're not doing it. They went against direct orders from President Trump to release these people and did not release them. And so that's going to be its own thing today. Like, there's going to be so many things going on today that went on yesterday. It's ridiculous. On top of all of this, there's so much going on, y'all. I have 10,000 bookmarks here. The first one that I wanted to mention, and I forgot earlier, was that Ron DeSantis, he's the governor here in Florida. He put out an executive order yesterday, right after Donald Trump was sworn in. DeSantis put out this executive order, and it says, whereas an area of low pressure moving across the Gulf of America, interacting with Arctic air, will bring widespread impactful winter weather to North Florida beginning Tuesday, January 21st, 2025, which is today, my dudes. And whereas winter storm warnings have been issued for the western Florida panhandle, that's me, with additional extensions eastward along the I-10 corridor this afternoon and evening, and some other stuff, whatever. But the fact that it says Gulf of America, you guys can see here, we're underlined in red, Gulf of America. That's a huge deal because DeSantis is like, I'm on it, doggone it. Let's change it. Let's go. And you would think, in theory, that the Florida governor may have some qualms about the changing of Gulf of Mexico to Gulf of America, because so many things here are labeled Gulf of Mexico. And it's in the what is the word? Like, not traveler's packets, but sure, that part, traveler's packets. Hello. I know it says Gulf Coast a lot, but a lot of the times it says Gulf of Mexico. Like the travel stations on the freeways. I can't think of the word. It doesn't matter. There's so many people moving around me right now. It's ridiculous. But the fact that he put in Gulf of America, I thought was great. Also, President Trump will be taking his first trip of the second term to disaster-stricken North Carolina and California. For those of you who have wondered what's going to happen to North Carolina and California, probably more so North Carolina, because California was getting all the help from Joe Biden before he left. He decided to throw everything at California and, F North Carolina just a little bit longer. Who cares? Well, Donald Trump gets into office. He replaces the FEMA director. The FEMA director now comes out and he's like, I'm on it. And they are immediately have started reaching out, trying to figure out how to get long-term housing solutions for the people who are still displaced from Hurricane Helene in I don't know what's going on with this thing, in North Carolina. So you have Donald Trump will be going back to North Carolina soon. And on top of that, Tony Robinson, FEMA acting administrator here, he says, I'm honored to lead this amazing team and serve the American people. And so Tony Robinson, is going to be working towards finding shelter for the people of North Carolina, who, if I'm here in this cold ass weather in North Carolina, there's no way it's not freezing, because up north, y'all were getting an even bigger cold front than we were, as far as I know. Ryan Hall, y'all, is actually live. Side note, if you guys would rather be watching the weather or need to know the weather, Ryan Hall, y'all, is live talking about the weather issues that are going on through here in the panhandle. It is shaking my car. It's so windy. And through like Houston and other places. Y'all can see the trees. You can see how windy it is. I'm not making it up. It's friggin' windy. Let's see what else. So this is just a very, very interesting tidbit. I'm sorry, this kid is being dragged down the sidewalk by his dog. Very interesting. People trying to run into the wind is crazy. Cecile Richards. You may not know who Cecile Richards is, but yesterday, right around the time of the inauguration of Donald Trump, she passed away at 67 years old. She was the former Planned Parenthood president. I'm not going to say anything, but I do have to say that timing of things is very, very interesting to me. Always has been, always will be. It could be the conspiracy theorist in my head, but it could be the fact that sometimes weird timing is weird timing, and it should be looked at. Like, I don't know, California fires, and then tunnels under houses and everything that burned up, and then the fact that Gavin Newsom's already having talks with Josh Green, the governor of Hawaii, about what do they call them, speculators that are coming through for the land grab? Why is the first thing you do is call Josh Green, who was over Lahaina when it burned to the ground? Why is that the first thing you do while smiling and dancing around about the fact that this devastation has hit Los Angeles? Anyway, off topic. But when things present themselves to you and your brain immediately goes, that's weird timing. That's a weird coincidence. Look at how those two things connect. I wonder if there's like a real connection behind it. Go ahead and assume there's a real connection behind it. So until the autopsy comes out of Cecile Richards and why she died at 67, I'm going to have to say she knew something like, I don't know, what is it that people kept talking about? The adrenochrome? I can't think of the word. Basically, baby stuff that was used for skin care for celebrities so they look younger. Hillary Clinton, things like I can't say it, y'all know me in words do not work all the time, but you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. If anybody knew what was going on with that kind of stuff, guess who it would be? The motherfucking president of Planned Parenthood, where the Democrats have been pushing people to go and just, you know what, girl, just go get that abortion. It's fine. You don't want to miss your date next Saturday and you don't want to show up pregnant. You can't drink then. Go get that baby murdered. You know, things like that, because Democrats are so religious and spiritual. Okay, so on top of all of that, like I said, yesterday, after he was sworn in, I don't know if Donald Trump sleeps. He could be part vampire, not quite sure, minus the drinking of the blood, just the not needing the sleep part, because that man is, what, 80 years old, and I can't sleep under 6 hours without feeling like I've been hit by a bus. And he has been running around since, I would say November, but literally since what? July, June, nonstop campaigning, then, you know, being president-elect, then going out and doing everything else that he does on top of everything, then being, you know, not court-martialed. That's probably not the right phrase, the right word, but all the court crap. This man does not sleep. And he still, one of the first things he did yesterday, President Trump mandates all federal workers return to the office. Now, for some people, they'll be like, I don't see why that's a big deal. You know why? You know why? Because him mandating that they must return to the federal offices undoes what Biden did, where he said, you know, you don't ever have to come back if you don't want to, because then basically he can't fire them. With whatever it was that Biden did, it made it so that they could not be let go for not going back into their actual offices. Now, with this mandate or is that a mandate? Is that what we said? Mandate or executive order? What do we call it? By Trump, they must go back into the office. And if they don't, guess what? They can be fired. You're fired. That's what can happen. And that's very, very interesting to me. Again, the man looks for loopholes, and I have no problem with it. Speaking of firing, you ready for this? This is from Donald Trump, okay? Our first day in the White House is not over yet. This was obviously posted yesterday, his first day in the White House. My presidential personnel office is actively in the process of identifying and removing over 1,000 presidential appointees from the previous administration, meaning Joe Biden, who are not aligned with our vision to make America great again. Let this serve as official notice of dismissal for these 4 individuals, with many more coming soon. Before I even read these, can you imagine if you worked in a location, doesn't matter where it is, it could be effing McDonald's, it could be, you know, somewhere on Wall Street, and you go into work, and instead of your boss calling you into the office and be like, hey, listen, I know you've been here a long time, and I'm sure you think you're doing a good job, but honestly, you suck, so I'm gonna have to let you go. Instead of doing this one-on-one, they put out a bulletin, they send it to everybody, put it up on a bulletin board, put it up on the TVs, company emails, and they're like, guess what? Guess who's getting fired? These jag-offs over here. So he says, Jose Andres from the President's Council on Sports, Fitness, and Nutrition, Mark Milley from the National Infrastructure Advisory Council, Brian Hook from the Wilson Center for Scholars, and one of my favorites as a post-Atlanta dweller, and Keisha Lance Bottoms from the President's Export Council. You're fired. Literally, at the bottom, you're fired. Hello. That is... See, some people on the left are going to be like, that's not very presidential and that's not very blah, 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 blah. But you know what it is? It is a man who is sick and tired of the bullshit and is not going to put up with it anymore and wants people to really fully see and understand that this term is not the same as the first one, number one, and it sure as shit is not the same as the last 4 years we lived through. He is putting it out there for everybody that he is not playing around. If you saw his what is it, presidential portrait, whatever that thing is called, if you guys saw it, I have it saved, but there's like 7,000 bookmarks, so finding this is gonna be a pain in the ass. If you guys saw it, it's literally, I think, like his mugshot, or so very close to it that it's almost like very hard to tell if it's his mugshot or not. And the reason they use that as his photo is because it gives you that sense of FAFO. Fuck around and find out. Try me. I dare you. It is a blatant come at me, bro, kind of thing. And I absolutely friggin' love it. Oh, way off topic. We're going backwards just a little bit. This is what I was looking for with FEMA. FEMA has just confirmed it is now looking into more long-term solutions to house those left homeless by Hurricane Helene. FEMA is reaching out to local WNC apartment complexes, Western North Carolina, apartment complexes to house families who have been living in hotels. Because this is North Carolina right now. The homeless people living in tents are living in tents covered by fucking snow. The death toll of Hurricane Helene should not still be climbing. But if these people do not get somewhere to live, the death toll from Hurricane Helene will continue to climb months and months and months after Hurricane Helene actually hit North Carolina. Absolutely atrocious to me. Thankful that President Trump is back and getting somebody in there who is going to do something and make a change, right? So let's see. I know I saved this. I'm probably not going to be able to find it. I don't even know why I'm even attempting this. We'd be here forever and a day. There's way too much going on. I'm not even gonna. Either way, they talked about the fact that his presidential, again, whatever the crap it's called, is designed to let not just America know, obviously, but to let the world know that he means business. He is not going to sit there and kiss your ass no matter who you are, and he's not going to let you take advantage of him no matter who you are. Trudeau, who I could have sworn was stepping down. I don't know if you guys remember that. We talked about it a couple weeks ago, how Justin Trudeau was all butthurt, and he was like, well, I'm just going to leave then. I don't want to do this anymore. Somebody else can be the Prime Minister of Canada. And he was all like, whatever about it, has now come out yesterday, I believe it was, right after Trump was inaugurated. He came out and was all pissy about tariffs, and did I not save this? What is happening to my bookmarks here, y'all? Oh, here it is. Wait, shush. I don't like his face. He's got soy boy face. He looks real feminine. Listen.
Of course, if the president does choose to proceed with tariffs on Canada, Canada will respond. And everything is on the table. Working in unison with Team Canada, as Team Canada, with business leaders, organized labor, civil society, indigenous leaders, and premiers from coast to coast to coast, we are prepared for every possible scenario. In fact, just last night, I spoke to Premier Ford in his capacity as chair of the Council of the Federation, and he reiterated his unwavering commitment on behalf of Canadian premiers to working all together. This is an important and challenging moment for Canada and for Canada.
I don't care anymore. His voice, I could not. OMG, I could not with his voice. There's just certain things. Do I have the most feminine voice out there? No. Could I easily be mistaken for a boy who hasn't hit puberty yet? All the time. It's fine. I know my voice is my voice. I don't think he knows he sounds stupid. I don't think he knows that if a vagina was near him and it even had a possibility of there being any sort of moistness, the moment he opened his mouth, Sahara Desert, every single time. Nothing about that would make a woman want to do anything with him. Like, just the speech pattern, the voice, all of it. And then you add in the face and the little, nope, not gonna happen. Not gonna happen. He is just not okay. Other thing I'd like to mention, and I guess I'm not doing as much Trump stuff. I had all these things to show you yesterday of during the was it victory rally? Like I had all these videos and then, you know, we just kind of get way off topic and now they're old news. So we're not going to do those. But remember, remember how when Kamala Harris was made to run for president, because they kicked Joe Biden off the ballot because of dementia and a coup. Pelosi and Obama did that, and Schumer too. I think he had a little something to do with it. Probably Obama and Clinton and a little bit everybody wanted him off of the Democrat national presidential ballot, and they threw Kamala on there, and they pushed it as a woman of color. We need a woman of color in here, and you know, I guess Indian, Asian Indian or Asian Pacific or whatever she is, but then they tried to throw in black and all this other stuff. They were real proud of it, right? What's interesting to me though, is that those same people that were, you know, cheering from the rooftops about DEI this and DEI that and having people that weren't white in places of power aren't really excited about JD Vance's wife being the first lady of Indian or Pacific, Asian Pacific descent in the White House. How come it was only cool or worth talking about when it might have been Kamala? So the lack of celebration, Usha Vance became the first Asian American and Hindu American to serve as second lady of the United States in American history. The first as second lady of the United States in American history. The lack of celebration from those who typically champion diversity reflects the sentiments of the movement as not advancing people of color, but advancing people of color who share my views. That's what it comes down to. This is not anti-racism, but conditional racism. It is to be insincere about diversity as an objective, reducing it to a Trojan horse for political partnership, partisanship. Congratulations to the second lady. And that's what I said the whole time. It wasn't because they thought, you know, that they gave a crap that Kamala could have checked off a DEI box. It was more of, they were hoping that she would be able to bring in more people that weren't white, that were mentally thinking the same way they were. Oh, you know, let's just destroy this country from the inside out with all these like DEI directives and tranny this and whatever that, furry this, whatever. And the second female makes it into one of those spots of political, not power, but obviously into the White House, crickets. They don't care. It's not actually about moving the needle forward on diversity. It's about moving the right person they want forward. And that in and of itself should open the eyes to a lot of people that the whole entire campaign by Kamala Harris was absolute bullshit. It was a straight up lie and none of it mattered. And all it was a way to, I still think, once again, launder some money. Because how do you go through over $1 billion and past it and then be in the red and owe people money, quit paying your staff and everything for 3 months, like over $1 billion in 3 months? Do y'all understand what she would have done to this country? Do you understand? I am a woman who likes to shop, which is why I hide my credit card from myself and I don't leave my effing apartment, because I am a shopper. I like to go get stuff that I don't need. I don't need to be the president of the United States, because I would see something, I'd be like, ooh, it'd be cool if we had Brazil. Anybody want to buy Brazil? Anybody want to make, you know, get a little flavor in here? Let's go buy Brazil. And I would just go out and try to buy countries. Kind of sort of like Donald Trump, but a little different. So it's not a good idea. Can y'all see the car shaking? I don't know what wind speed we're at now. Maybe 75. It's not that strong, I know, but it is real gnarly out here. And there's a lot of sleet. It's like little baby pebbles hitting everything. It's white, but it's not really snowing yet. I better get snow, y'all. If I only get this sleet bullshit, I'm gonna be mad. I'm gonna be so mad. I want snow like Pensacola. Dang it. Anyway, so that's I just find that very interesting, that the same people that were screaming about diversity, the same people who said it doesn't matter, you know, if you're a man or a woman, if you're gay, if you're straight, if you're trans, which is not a real thing in my personal opinion, or whatever else, it doesn't matter what your nationality is, as long as you're not white, a white man or a white woman, then you're great and we want you. And the second they get a non-white woman up in there, they're still pissed because it's not their non-white woman that they wanted to plant in there. Anyway, that's that. So y'all, so much more we could do here. I'm trying to remember. Oh, the thumbnail. The reason I have this on the thumbnail, this 404 page not found. I don't know if you guys saw this or noticed this. This is because this one was called the Go back. Where are you? So the White House has its own website, whitehouse.gov, which if you were over on X, I put a link up to it yesterday. When you go to and if you're not, when we're done here, just go on whatever browser you have, type in whitehouse.gov, and then come back to the comment section and thank me later. You're welcome. Volume up, all that kind of fun stuff, because Donald Trump has overhauled whitehouse.gov, and you'll see it immediately. But on top of that, there used to be one called La Casa Blanca, which is the White House in Spanish. It was a Spanish White House website. A Spanish White House website. Do y'all even understand that? They made a White House website in all Spanish so that all the illegal immigrants could still keep up with what was going on, as opposed to, hey, maybe learn English, you know? Anyway, so they had this website, and the very first thing that Donald Trump did when he got in and overhauled whitehouse.gov was said, F that, La Casa Blanca, and it is gone. Error 404. It is no longer there. If you speak Spanish and you need to know what's going on in the White House, you better learn English or find yourself a translator, because you're not going to find it at lacasablanca.com anymore. Let's see, what else do we have? We have so much. We have so much. No, I don't want to do that. No, I don't want to. Oh, nope. Don't want to do that. No. Oh, I do want to read this. I'm going to do this, and then this will be the end of this live stream, because we've been here for, again, 45 minutes. I run my friggin' mouth. But somebody named Steph, but I think it's supposed to be like a dude. It says Steph, but that's clearly a black man. It says Steph is dope. Maybe his name is like Stefan or Stefan or Stefan Urkel, whatever. Anyway, family matters. If you know, you know. So he says in this post, this might sound random, but I'm very curious about Trump's parenting style. All of his kids turned out well, take part in the family business, or started their own enterprises. Barron is Gen Z, but even he looks primed for his own political run in 20 years. Impressive. The reason I bring this up is a lot of people are talking about how, I think her name is Vanessa, which is Kai's mother, Kai Trump's mother, right? Was at the inauguration ceremonies, and she is divorced from Donald Trump Jr., right? I'm pretty sure I have all of this right. I'm trying to keep everything together. But and then, you know, even Ivanka is there, and before his ex-wife died, she would have been part of everything. Oh, what's her name? Oh, come on, do it. What's her name? What's her name? His ex-wife, the blonde who passed away. Help me. I can't think of her name. This is not that hard. I know it's not, but I have way too many names in my No. Was Ivana was the ex-wife, and Ivanka is the daughter, right? See, I'm really bad at this. Either way, she passed away, but if she had still been here, she would have been there with them as well. Everybody's talking about how this family, whether they are still married together, whatever's going on, they are all genuinely happy for each other and genuinely care about each other as a family, and are always there to show support or to back them or whatever else. There's a little thing going around where the sisters were taking a picture yesterday. So I don't know if it was Lara, Ivanka, and the other one. I don't think it was Vanessa. I don't know how all the names of the girls. Again, I'm learning. We're taking a picture, and Barron decided to photobomb basically in the back. And instead of anybody being upset about somebody said Tiffany. Instead of being upset about it, they were like, you know, like it's really cute. And that's like a good family. I cannot picture Joe Biden's family being friendly like that. Bill Clinton's daughter, what's her name? Chelsea Clinton. Whatever. And then Obama and Big Mike's daughters, they're now into like drugs and whoring out, from what I've seen on social media since they got out of the White House and they got, you know, a free reign. But Trump's family, clearly there's something going right in that family, and the way that he, as the patriarch of the family, is doing something correct, because clearly his children love him. Clearly ex-wives or whoever else, current wife, love him. Grandchildren love him. Nation loves him. World loves him. But something is being done correctly there. And I seriously hope that whatever is the secret to that family being as close as they are is something that somehow can seep out here into the United States, because I feel like the last 4 years, the amount of division in every kind of aspect possible has been extreme. And this is weird. I'm going to do a whole like whatever video about this later. But the self-respect of people seems to have gone into the crapper over the last 4 years. The moral compass has gone into the crapper. The till death do us part for a lot of people is now, well, until I'm tired of it and don't want to do it anymore. You know, the amount of divorces over the last 4 years, COVID definitely didn't help when people had to actually stay together for hours and days and weeks at a time and didn't have a job or outside forces to divide their attention from each other. They're together longer. They're realizing that maybe they don't like each other, and instead of working towards anything, they just split up. That's not what this country is founded on. That's not what families should be founded on. There's just so many things that I really do truly hope that having Donald Trump back in office will change over the next 4 years, just in the aspect of right versus wrong, and fight versus give up, and compassion versus lack of. And that sounds hypocritical because I don't have compassion for trans people. I honestly don't. You're mental. Well, some. Let me even be fully clear here. If you are a child who is being groomed by your parents, I have very much compassion. If you are a 20-something-year-old who's trying to go TikTok or Instagram or YouTube famous by acting like a person who's stuck in the wrong body, no compassion for you. You're a fucking moron. Like, there's two totally different things. But either way, it's now getting a little more sleety, rainy over here. I do think the next 4 years are going to be great for this country as a people, especially if once the left wakes up just a little bit. That's all we need. Just a little spark of a wake up will travel very far and wide. So that's that. Try to wake up any libtards you may know. It is possible, I promise you, for them to see the error of their ways and come over to the right side. Okay, I love y'all. I hope you have a fabulous rest of your day. I'm going to try to bring in more stuff later, but I'm going to go inside right now for now, and that's all. Yeah. If you happen to be where there's snow and cold weather and stuff like that, be safe, be careful. Don't walk in any dark spots because you will slip and break a hip or a leg or a neck, and we don't want that. And keep your water faucets dripping, keep your cabinet doors open, keep your heater on, and do not leave your animals outside. If you leave your animals outside in weather like this, you're shitty people. Okay? I mean that with the most respect possible. I love y'all. Have a good rest of your day until I see you again. Goodbye. Adios. Muchachas.